hell is unfolding live in the Donetsk region. The Russians are advancing towards the Lyman direction. The armed forces of Ukraine are reliably holding back the enemy. Everything is burning. Air trenches, equipment, dreams of a lightning offensive. Russian crossings are collapsing like dominoes. The chances of reclaiming captured territories are increasing. Will the enemy troops really retreat after this? More details about this in our report.
Cab. In these populated areas.
It flew right over us, right?
Yes.
Headlight. Usually enemy Su aircraft on the Lyman section of the front drop 3 gliding bombs in one run. And at the launch lines, the Moscow bombers approach, regardless of the weather and time of day, multiple times a day.
Here with the bombs, it's constant. They regularly hit Kramatorsk, Sloviansk, Lyman, and all places where personnel are concentrated, so it's no secret. They work with the bombs very, let's say, intensively.
They bomb both the rear Ukrainian territories and directly the line of combat engagement, coordinating with enemy artillery remotely, creating a continuous cloud of fire over Ukrainian defensive positions on the border of Luhansk region with Donetsk.
We'll really hit them hard there.
Since March, it seems like it's been increasing. Well, it feels like it's only growing.
Movement. Without difficulties, no?
Yeah.
Enemy drones, which don't care whether it's broad daylight over the Zerabets River or a dark night, circle and attack our defenders' hideouts on the western bank almost continuously. Arrived at the position, and the first thing the counter-mission commander said was birds. We thought they were actual birds because birds sing in the morning. You were talking about other birds, right?
Well, yes, about different birds. Drone birds, we call them sometimes.
They're the Russian drones, says Borzy, a mortar calculation spotter of the 66th Ukrainian Mechanized Brigade, have significantly increased in number in the Lyman area since the beginning of spring.
A lot of drones have appeared. Their drones fly around looking for where the bunker is, where the trench is, so they can target them.
Drones are a big problem, right?
Very much so. It's very difficult to get in and out.
But they drive almost right up to enemy positions. The mortar team of the Onuka Adolfivna Battalion, ready to provide fire support with their 120mm mortars, to their infantry comrades holding the lines right at the 0 point, on the western bank of the Zerabets whenever needed.
6003, correct?
Ready.
Mine.
There, that river goes under the hills.
There, this river goes under the hills. And they have already moved onto those hills. Further on. Some places they passed, and some they didn't. They tried here, but we held them back. So they went from another section and passed through.
A pack of occupiers tries to push forward on the section from Rekivka to Yampilivka every day, openly shares Yuk, the commander of the 66th Mechanized Battalion. It is his soldiers, the commander assures, that Adolfivna protects.
That's actually Adolfovna. She is the guardian of our battalion. I don't know who this woman is, to be honest with you, but we were heavily shelled by the enemy, and as they say, she protected us. Now she travels with us.
No tanks, no armored personnel carriers, says the commander. The Muscovites cannot manage to cross to the western bank. Not least thanks to the efforts of Adolfivna's mortar operator grandchildren, who destroy enemy crossings.
Ready.
Mine!
Not across the river, only through, well, only over the sunken bridge. Crossings like these are often thrown. Well, it's just a very effective thing. Well, but we also try to do this.
Meanwhile, the occupiers are advancing with infantry, a very large number of infantry.
For every one of our servicemen, there are 12 enemy servicemen and infantrymen. They simply destroy with FPV drones, driving him underground, and then only a group goes, already the 25th or 30th wave of enemy assault actions. They come with a TM mine, detonating, in fact, the dugout.
Under such circumstances, The mortar fire of Adolfovna's grandchildren on the timely detected groups of Muscovite assault troops greatly helps Ukrainian infantrymen on the front line to hold back the onslaught of the occupiers.
That's it. Aim one, fire. If an adjustment is needed, there it is. All set, fire. Mine!
It's practically all about the infantry. They start to advance and we just hold them back.
Narrator. From the front line on the Lyman sector, Alexander Motorny, Alexander Sheehan, and Serhiy Shportilo. TSN 1+1. Marathon United News.
Yulia Yarmolenko, a new decree directly from the Russian General Staff. Putin's soldiers are switching to motorcycles. Now they ride on two wheels across minefields. However, the problem is our FPV drones catch up with them and give them a good roasting. The entire motorcycle gang scatters. It was a fiery welcome salute from the armed forces of Ukraine. Who or what will the occupiers try to ride next? We'll tell you all about it in just a moment.
We are here with you at the training ground, where the motorcycle group of the Volunteer Brigade from Panyol will be practicing specific tasks. The group was formed literally 2 weeks ago, based on the assault unit.
Anatoly Novikov. Russia is preparing a new offensive tactic for the spring-summer of this year. This is reported by analysts from the American Institute for the Study of War. According to their information, the occupiers are now replacing armored vehicles with motorcycles.
Alexander Motuzyanik and these, let's say, motorcycle units have already appeared to intensify the combat engagement. Naturally, today, tactical methods are being developed on our side as well to counteract this. It's clear that the target is small, and it's actually very difficult to hit it with a drone. That's obvious.
Anatoly Novikov, as experts note, the Kremlin is switching to motorcycle groups for several reasons. The main reason is, of course, the significant increase in the number of FPV drones of the armed forces of Ukraine. The Russians themselves do not hide the fact that Ukrainian UAV operators have become so skilled at destroying their counterparts that a target in the size of even a passenger car is no longer a problem for them. Therefore, Russia is now looking for the smallest and fastest means of transportation possible.
Dmitro Butsko, more maneuverable than a car. And also, even if you take these FPV drones, well, I don't think they would use FPV drones just for, say, a motorcycle.
Anatoly Novikov. Moreover, the tactic of advancing on motorcycles seems to be initiated directly from the Russian General Staff, as satellite images regularly capture training of future suicide attackers on two-wheeled vehicles at the training grounds. In turn, armored vehicles are practically not used in the exercises.
Rain. If operators see an armored personnel carrier, it's clear it's a crew. It's about a dozen orcs. It's a combat vehicle. Destroying one such combat vehicle immediately multiplies the result by 10. A motorcyclist, a lone motorcyclist, or a lone running orc, yes, it's a target, but you need to scale it 10 times to destroy each one individually. So the Russian suicide troops are trying to use all possible light means of transportation to increase their mobility.
Anatoly Novikov. However, analysts note that in this way the Russian command is primarily preserving equipment, not people. Since the beginning of the full-scale war, Russia has already lost over 10,500 US tanks alone. So the remnants of the surviving armored vehicles are now being guarded like the apple of their eye.
Rain. In 70 to 80% of cases, the use of heavy armored vehicles, especially tanks, involves tasks that are not typical for tanks. This is essentially performing artillery operations from concealed positions, not tank battles.
Anatoly Novikov. Meanwhile, no one intends to preserve the assault troops. Got on a two-wheeler, and off you go. The occupiers, on the other hand, try to protect themselves, habitually using old tactics like grills on armor.
Announcer on a motorcycle. This is the kind of protection. They made a mesh. Is this how you'll protect against FPV?
Yes.
And are you going to use it for combat missions or evacuation?
For combat missions.
For combat missions. On such a beauty, it needs to be painted green.
Anatoly Novikov, however, the idea of protecting with a mesh over the motorcycle from a strike drone is absurd, as the debris will still fly towards the driver. Therefore, more experienced motorcycle assault troops say, if you hear a Ukrainian drone, only your reaction can save you.
Kirilo, at the very last moment, yes, when you already feel it at the back of your head, you need to move left or right. This can save your life.
Anatoly Novikov. It is worth mentioning that there are motorcycle units in the Ukrainian army as well. However, they are used in a completely different way. Instead of senseless frontal assaults, our military bikers operate under air cover and ride not so much for attacks, but for delivering ammunition and supplies, as well as for evacuating the wounded.
Alexander Motusyanik. We also adopt some elements of enemy tactics, among other things. We also have units that have mounted these metal steeds and will also be harassing the forward positions of the Russian troops. Therefore, we take the best, use the best, including what the enemy has, and prepare countermeasures.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Molenko. The Kramatorsk section of the front is one of the circles of hell for the occupiers. The armed forces of Ukraine greet the enemy with mortar salvos, strikes directly on enemy positions. The Russian soldiers certainly did not expect such a setup from their commanders. They are sent directly into the line of fire. After this, the Russian cowards sharpen their skis and prepare to flee as fast as they can. These shots of the occupiers' disgraceful whining right on the front line have already flooded the internet. Take a look at them yourself.
It's cool when you shoot and everything is burning there. Well, it's blazing there, I like it.
People are bustling around and it's burning. And I'm bursting with laughter.
Yes, jokingly, the mortarmen of the 5th Separate Assault Kiev Brigade, who are defending the approaches to Kramatorsk, talk about their work.
The greenery has turned green. The enemy is advancing, pushing, trying, entering, in small groups of 1 or 2 people. Well, but our guys are working and we are working. Our drones, well, they detect them, and accordingly, we work on them.
The situation is like in war. I don't know. They come at us, we destroy them. They also show some teeth to force some kind of bad peace, to win something, at least something, somewhere. They practically enter, but it's one-sided.
In some places, the occupiers are bringing in armor. Recently, enemy forces launched a massive offensive. The result of their assault is visible on the screen. The remnants of Russian equipment litter the Ukrainian land, but the Russians retaliate and destroy our cities from a distance with shelling.
They are constantly, especially now, I say they have started shelling Kostiantynivka heavily with everything, including rockets and who knows what else, just relentlessly. And also in Kramatorsk and in Druchkivka, everywhere.
The task of the Ukrainian mortar teams is to protect the infantry, and the mortar teams themselves are covered by aerial reconnaissance.
I like it when they tell us there's a hit, everything's clear, guys, let's secure the result. Let's send a couple more there.
We're hitting them. Well, sometimes they praise us, sometimes a little less.
Besides the ability to press quickly, these guys need physical strength to carry parts of the mortar. Just one base plate weighs 90 kilograms.
I've already learned what muscle soreness is. Running, throwing, aiming. They wanted to land a Mavic on me. They scared me in the mortar pit. So I ran around a bit there, hid. Yes, there were shellings, there were, but it's all bearable.
Mortar crews always have work to do. They have planned targets they work on. These are enemy fortifications and positions. And when they know they're working against the infantry of the occupiers who are going on the offensive, they give it their all.
Then we don't spare them. Neither mines nor anything else.
The second mine is light, well, 3 to 3.5, up to 3.5 kilograms, up to 4. Well, it's quick, they're in a box. Well, if working normally, you can throw out these, 10 pieces in 2 minutes.
10 pieces in 2 minutes?
Yes, you can do that, when the work is intense.
When the mortar operators receive information from scouts about the location of enemy positions, they calculate from where they can strike them. They work as quickly as possible.
There were times when we just ran out of the dugout and immediately the mortars started working on us in response. Because they knew where, they know where this position is, where this, and well, thank God everyone managed, the guys managed to jump into the dugout. We managed to jump into the vehicle and quickly drive away.
They say despite the fatigue, they will continue to strike the enemy because they know our infantrymen need help.
The whistle of gunpowder, the joy from the work it gives, and you understand that you are doing all this for a reason.
From Donetsk region, Marina Smolova, Alexander Petrovsky, Ukraine, Marathon